Hey guys, so I know it's been a while since I posted. Usually, like, it had gotten to the point where making a lot of these videos were kind of like triggering me, like talking about it triggering me. So I kind of stepped away so that I could breathe and heal and not have thoughts of everything that's happened in my life constantly putting weight on my shoulders and constantly like having anxiety from it, although I have anxiety from it. um so today I wanted to see if any of y'all have been tested. Like, did you go to a therapist and get tested? So ever since I was real young, my mother has thrown around this narrative that I have anger issues. um And even as an adult, she was like, "Oh, I hope you get help. I hope you go see a therapist for your anger issues." She even sent me a book on anger issues and wrote my name on the cover. I ended up throwing it out. So, in any case, I decided to go get tested anyway. What kind of made it happen was not just from her. It had to do with like having it click in my head that my dad, he had something wrong with him, which we'll never know. And we 100%, the whole family, on my dad's side, believed that he had schizophrenia and some form of autism. And then I don't know if I mentioned it on here, but I had my daughter tested, and she came back with mild autism. Now, I don't think that I had autism, but it was possible. I actually thought I had ADHD. So I went to a therapist and I explained a lot of different stuff that I wanted to be tested for, and mostly specifically these anger issues that my mother was always talking about. Well, those anger issues is called aggressive behavior disorder, which I was tested for and I don't have. So I'm going to name off some stuff that I was tested for and I don't have. Um, I'm not bipolar. I don't have any other mood disorders. I don't have depression. Like, I get depressed sometimes, but I don't have depression. There's a pretty big difference. I don't have ADHD, I don't have schizophrenia, and I don't have autism. I think there was a couple other things, but I forgot what they were. What I have been officially diagnosed with by a doctor, a therapist, is PTSD and OCD from prolonged childhood trauma. As much as narcissists try to convince you that there's just something wrong with you and that everything that you say that happened in your life didn't happen, like everything that they did to you, for me, having this diagnosis, while it sucks, it proves to me that I'm not crazy. Like, I didn't make all this stuff up. Although I do know my mother enough to know that if I told her, hey, I don't have this so-called anger issues, but I am diagnosed with PTSD from you, I'm pretty positive that she would sit there and say, oh, well, that doctor doesn't know what they're talking about. If any doctor says something that doesn't suit her agenda or her narrative, she automatically labels them a quack. Or she would blame me and say that I must be such a genius that I must have figured out some way to hack the system and figure out how to answer things in such a way that I can be diagnosed with all this stuff. And on the other hand, actually, they tested for something like that too. When she did all this testing, they also did like some sort of intelligence test, and I'm slightly above average. slightly above. Not freaking genius enough to know how to manipulate answering questions to like get whatever diagnoses that I have and uh, not get the diagnosis of stuff that my mom believes I have. So with the PTSD, here's the thing. I actually, like I said before, I thought I had ADHD. According to my doctor, ADHD symptoms and PTSD symptoms mirror each other, like a lot of them do. So that is why a lot of people will sit there and say, oh, I think I have one or the other, when it's really they have the other one. Like when I've been on TikTok and a lot of people are sitting there saying, hey, you have ADHD if you do this. And I'm like, oh my God, I do all those. I probably have ADHD. Maybe I should go get tested. Kind of find out those are also symptoms of PTSD. And a lot of my life, I have always joked that I had OCD. If I was like doing something, because I'm very peculiar about things, so it's like if I'm organizing something in such a way, I'll just be like, oh, it's just my OCD, don't worry about it. Well, I do have OCD. So that kind of, opens my eyes a little bit, because it makes me realize that I'm not just weird, I actually have OCD. So when you're going in getting tested, not only is there a lot of tests, but my doctor, or well, the doctor, if you're being tested, is also watching your behavior, your mannerisms, the way you talk. All of that is giving them more clues to whether you meet the check marks of certain diagnoses. She noticed that I fidget a lot, and that one of the things that I do is I shove things up my fingernails. I have been doing this since probably third, maybe fourth grade. This is kind of like a thing I just haven't really told many people about, but apparently it is a coping mechanism for anxiety. So if you see here this piece of paper, right? It's kind of hard to... I will sit here with the piece of paper and take my finger and shove the piece of paper up my fingernail. It hurts, but it feels good at the same time. I've been doing this almost my whole life. I do it every single day. I probably don't even go more than an hour without doing it. I will have shirts that have tags on the side, like right here, and I'll do it with the tags. It calms me down. It's like an addiction to cope, to make me feel better, because every time I do it, I feel calmer. She said it is a non-harmful coping mechanism. There are harmful ones like smoking, drinking, drugs, self-mutilation. But she said with this, as long as I'm not hurting myself, making myself bleed, then it is totally fine, which I'm not. There have been times where it rarely happens, like once every couple of years, I guess I'll do it too hard and it'll get sore and I can't do it. And then I have to choose another finger to do it too. Thanks, Mom. But I also want to say that these tests are not based off of what I told them about my childhood. It's strictly based off of the way questions are answered, and they don't just ask questions like, did your mom abuse you? No, it'll ask specific questions. Are your parents married? Were they divorced? Were they split before you were born? Is one or was one or both of your parents in jail? Did you have just one parent in your life or two? There's like so many questions. And not only that, there was a booklet that I had to bring home for my husband, and he had to answer questions. So he answered questions about me, about my mannerisms, my my actions, my words, how I talk, things that I do, um, things that just stuff that he notices. Now, she did say that I can go to my PCM and get a, what do you call it, a referral to go see a psychiatrist that specializes in PTSD, and I can be put on meds, but I already let her know that I'm totally against meds. But she said, maybe it could help, because one of the issues that I have is I constantly feel like there's a motor running inside of me and it does not shut off. It's anxiety, which is part of my PTSD. It's like inside I am the Energizer Bunny. Sorry, I can't even talk. I'm tired. Inside I'm the Energizer Bunny, but on the outside I'm exhausted. So I have these two things constantly like conflicting. So I'm open to the idea of taking a medication if this motor can be shut off and give me a little bit of a break so that I can function more like a normal human being. She also recommended that I never speak to her and my brother again. She said that I can't heal. Well, nobody can heal if you're still in your abuser's life, even low contact. You have to go strictly no contact so that you can heal. I highly recommend going to get yourself tested if you haven't already. And then it's up to you if you want to go get help or if you feel like you're managing just better by your own, doing everything on your own, because I did that pretty well. I think I've been no contact like 7 or 8 years, something like that, from my mother, and I've been no contact from my brother for like 10 years. I didn't really go no contact with him to go no contact 10 years ago. It was just more like we just kind of didn't talk. We were living our own lives. And then things happened to where I just decided, you know what, I'm just never going to speak to him again. I've healed a ton on my own just by not having them in my life and by choosing to move on. And also in the past, talking a lot about it. I mean, when you talk about it and you get all this stuff off your chest, you feel better. But once you get it all off your chest and then like you continue to talk about it constantly, then that it's always in your face, and it feels like you're just not going to heal anymore if you continue to keep talking about it and keep dwelling on it. So go ahead, comment down below if you've been tested and you were diagnosed with anything due to having narcissists in your life. Okay? Take care, guys.